Hey everyone, I have not made a video in quite a while. As per usual, I have one that is half finished and like begging for some attention, but I just cannot stop thinking about Wicked. And more importantly, I keep thinking about the fact that like everything sucks right now in the political world and in many spheres of our lives. And the significance of where they ended Wicked Part 1. Now you'll tell me they stopped it there because that's where it stops for the intermission in the musical, but it's still really relevant. The message of the first part of the movie and the message of the second part of the musical are quite different. So there will be spoilers for part 1 of Wicked in this video, and there will be spoilers for what happens in the second half of the musical. So spoiler alert. In a world that was celebrating Luigi Mangione just a few weeks after Wicked was released, followed by Trump being elected and Elon Musk doing the Nazi salute at the inauguration, I am left quite confused. If you've seen the movie, you know that at the end of part 1 of Wicked, we see Elphaba singing a hard-hitting power ballad and being ready to take on the world as an activist, and we were all rooting for her. And that's a very interesting place for the show to end in this very political climate, right? Everybody rooting for her wanting some changes and like taking control of her own life, especially as a young woman. But for those of you who, like me, have seen the musical, we all know that Elphaba will spend the whole second half of the show and the whole second movie accomplishing absolutely nothing. She will be making mistakes after mistakes, and eventually she will give up on everything and she will just elope with her cute boyfriend. Aww. And ultimately, it's Glinda, the one who stayed behind, didn't make a fuss, and ended up like gaining power within the system, who will end up being the hero that fixes everything in Oz. And honestly, I'm not sure that we are ready for our politically enraged Elphaba to fail on the big screen. I, for sure, am not ready to see that. Leaving this first movie, I don't know, it's just a movie, but there was this sense of like empowerment coming from it. But I know what's coming on next, and I'm even more annoyed at the message that we are left with at the end of the show, at the end of the second movie, that to change a system, you need to operate within the system. Like it says, don't be a rebel, stay quiet, don't be angry. Activism doesn't work. That's the message of the second part of the movie. And doing this in a movie is called political propaganda. It's quite similar to propaganda. If you know, propaganda is the effort by media to positively shape the public opinion about the police. So political propaganda, which is also called polyprop, which I don't like as much as propaganda, refers to media designed to make politicians or political institutions look more competent, noble, or heroic than they are in reality. In the second part of Wicked, Glinda becomes this political public figure. It's not quite clear how their system works. And she wins it all at the end. Well, except Fiyero. She doesn't win that one. But it's really annoying because I want more models of activism that works and how being angry, especially as women, can have a big impact on the world. Because we all know that incorporating the system changes you and you have to operate within a system that does not want to change and is not going to change. That being said, I know that there are like dozens of dystopian movies where the underdog overtakes the big bad governments, but I sure hope that we don't have to reach all the way to Hunger Games to make a change in our society. I just find that the timing of Wicked Part 2 is so bad. It's so sad. It's going to be like a year into Trump presidency here in Canada, we will also, I mean, I hope not, but also have conservative government. And when part two finishes, I think people will stop holding space for the lyrics of Defying Gravity. Instead, they will be sad that Elphaba is burned out and happy that she found love and that she can now stop doing activism and just live happily ever after because everything is fixed magically. And while the villains of the movie will be punished, in the musical, if I remember correctly, I think we never really learn what happens with the animals, you know, the talking animals that the wizard is using as scapegoats, like quite literally. Which leads me to that last part of this rambling video about Wicked. I'm so tired of movies, and especially fantasy movie, using everything but real examples of discrimination to talk about discrimination. This happens all the time, and Wicked is a great example. So while they did like this colorblind casting, and there are queer people in the movie, and there are people with disabilities, and everybody seems to be, you know, loving them and integrating them well in society, they invented this like other race with the talking animals, and this is the other race that is suffering the discrimination. But for us queer people and for trans people and people of color and people living with disability, we know that the animals, they're us. It's us. They're just not representing that in the movie. Look what's happening with trans right now all over the West. It's so bad. They are right now the scapegoat that the people in power use to gain power and maintain power. And movies do that all the time. I think one of the most famous example is coming from the transphobe that I shall not name with her house elves. But there's also the mutants in X-Men, the predators in Zootopia, the illegals in Nevermore, the fairies in Artemis Foils, and the Freemans in Dunes. These are just like top of my head examples. And then the books follow like one white savior who fights for their right, while everyone else just accept the exclusion, stigma, and discrimination. And I think most of us want to think that we're Elphabas. But like, are we really? Again, if we look at what's happening for trans right now, and if we look at Gaza and Palestine, we're clearly not Elphabas. We're clearly just all the munchkin doing nothing and pretending like it does not exist. And it's hard to know what to do when we feel so powerless as I feel right now. I guess it's even Elphaba, who is an Elphaba and has access to magic, which I wish I did, but I don't, will fail, will accomplish nothing in the second movie. So I guess I'm not sure what to do. I did mention that this video was just me rambling, but I wanted to, I don't know, talk into the void of YouTube, and maybe a few people will resonate and temporarily feel better because they're less alone in their feeling, and maybe I will as well. But if you have like any idea on how to fight back, let me know. And maybe let's not get discouraged by the second half of that movie. And, and let's continue to hope that activism can work and that we can indeed make some changes in the world. Ciao.